From the terror of Darkseid, in 2 Justice League sequels, and a Batman-Deathstroke face-off to some very different movies for Wonder Woman, Flash, and Aquaman, we're digging into the seeds Snyder laid. Like Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut before it, Zack Snyder's Justice League reflects, for the most part, the original intentions for the film as it was devised during its production in 2016. In the years since, both the DC Films Initiative and Warner Bros. If you're looking for something to binge on a lazy Sunday, or a lazy any other day, we're not here to judge, we've got a reality show for you. Pictures have undergone tremendous shifts in priorities, leadership, and even corporate owners. AT&T's desires for a superhero universe do not exactly align with the ones director Zack Snyder and former DC Films bosses Geoff Johns and John Berg intended to build. Storage Wars, on A&E, highlights the curious subculture of folks who attend auctions of storage lockers that are 3 months behind on rent. As a consequence, the 4-hour epic Snyder released on HBO Max this week is filled with ghosts of that abandoned cinematic universe. Recommended. Zack Snyder talks Cyborg, Joker and Batman, and fandom. Join us now as we take a look at those ghosts, where they were meant to lead, and what's become of those possible stories in the current Warner Media DC Films paradigm. It established Darkseid as the villain of the Justice League sequels. Photo by HBO Max. As seen in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Darkseid, the undisputed ruler of Apocalypse, is the real menace at the core of Snyder's plans. Part 2 would have seen the League teaming with the Green Lantern Corps to make a preemptive strike against the Alpha Predator. For what purpose? To sort through the locker's contents in the hopes of finding the modern equivalent of buried treasure, which the buyer will then sell themselves, in an Inception-esque loop of auctioning and buying. It is, without any trace of irony, a fascinating, supremely entertaining watch. A huge part of its appeal comes from its colorful cast of real-life characters, who bounce off one another with a unique chemistry any network sitcom would go to war for. So now that A&E has unearthed this heretofore unheard of group of people, giving them a taste of unscripted fame, one question remains. What is the original cast of Storage Wars up to now? The bidding starts. Their attempt would have ended in defeat with the third film taking place in a world where Lois is dead, Superman is in Darkseid's thrall, and the Batman plots a time travel quest to prevent the Great Darkness from sweeping the Earth. Now, don't forget to pay the auctioneers a husband and wife team. Dan and Laura Dotson were the main auctioneers for the entire run of Storage Wars. The finale would have seen all the heroes and military might of the planet uniting against Darkseid. Currently, there are no plans for another Justice League. Their auction style was marked by classic fast-talking patter, with the occasional reality TV-friendly squabble with a bidder. Laura also had an irresistibly old-fashioned catchphrase, "Don't forget to pay the lady." Now, Dan and Laura run their own private auctioneering company, called American Auctioneers. Snyder's interest in returning to superhero films seems to rise and fall with each interview he gives. They offer up auctions to the general public throughout California, most of which are typical legal sales and seized lockers, but some of which have special themes, like the Cars Stars and Rock and Roll event in February 2019. Darkseid, meanwhile, is slated to be the primary antagonist of Ava DuVernay's New Gods film, which will likely reimagine the mother boxes, the anti-life equation, and all the other New God elements utilized in the Snyder Cut. It positioned Deathstroke as the Dark Knight's foe in the Batman. Photo by HBO Max. Where the theatrical version of Justice League saw Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg, and Deathstroke, Joe Manganiello, plotting a league of their own, Snyder's version featured a very different twist on the scene. The couple also runs StorageAuctions.net, which acts as an online database and facilitator for storage facility auctions across the country. In 2018, the Dotsons discovered they sold a special locker to a client for $500. To make Deathstroke's visit worth his time, Lex gave him the civilian identity of the Batman, Ben Affleck. The tease undoubtedly would have led to a confrontation between Batman and Deathstroke in The Batman. At the time the scene was filmed, Affleck was planning to direct, co-write, and star in that project. Inside the locker? $7.5 million in cash. The deal was made outside of the Dotsons' commitments to Storage Wars, but their co-star Renee Nazoda theorized it was likely cartel or mafia money. Early on, word broke indicating Deathstroke would be his main adversary. Thankfully, since Dan's 2014 double aneurysm scare, Immortalized in Storage Wars episode, The Danurism, the couple has remained in good health. One word, 3 U's. He's the closest the show had to an outright villain. In light of the Snyder Cut scene, it is clear the plot would have seen Slade Wilson, Deathstroke's real name, systematically destroying Bruce Wayne. He got into fights with his fellow bidders and even the impartial auctioneers. That's a really great idea for a film, and we're sad the changes in studio priorities and Affleck's very valid need to walk away prevented it from happening. After Affleck departed from the director's chair, Matt Reeves took over the Batman and reconceived it as a Year 2 tale with Robert Pattinson playing a younger version of the character. It is due for release on March 4, 2022. Manganiello, meanwhile, tried to keep the Deathstroke dream alive. The plan would have included an appearance in a Suicide Squad sequel and a solo film. He raised the prices on lockers he had no intention of buying. At one point, The Raid Redemption's Gareth Evans was in discussions about the film, but it evaporated some time ago. And he did it all with an infectiously aggravating, legally trademarked, YUUUP. He's Dave Hester, a.k.a. the Mogul, the chaotic neutral member of the Storage Wars cast. Then, the original plans for the Suicide Squad sequel, to be directed by the accountant's Gavin O'Connor, changed into James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. In the fullness of time, Deathstroke will get a meaty role in a DC film someday. It just won't look like anything Snyder planted in his Justice League. It built Cyborg up for a solo adventure. Photo by HBO Max. Key to Snyder's vision was setting up Cyborg's, Ray Fisher, solo adventure. So much so, he went to great pains to embed the character's origin into Justice League so the first Cyborg film could tell a completely new story. And in 2012, he tried to blow the lid off the whole operation. Hester complained to A&E producers that the program was largely faked, with planted items and storylines exaggerated for optimum drama and entertainment value. That film was intended for release in 2020, but no creative team ever emerged to shepherd it through development. A&E's response? A pink slip in Hester's locker. So Hester filed a wrongful termination suit for $750,000 in damages, going into detail about the fakeries presented in the show, and asserting that Hester was not comfortable participating in this charade. However, the suit was settled in 2014, and Hester returned to the show for the remainder of its run. Now, he runs an independent business as an auctioneer and consultant. In an interview with Sparefoot, he said his eventual goal would be to buy a motorhome, and not even have a home address anymore, and just travel from one town to the next and be a gypsy auctioneer. The Nutrisystem works known as The Gambler. Daryl Sheets made big swings on Storage Wars, often scoring big. He once bought a locker for $3,600, only to discover it contained artwork worth $300,000. This was far and away the biggest profit made on the entire show's run. Now, he's somewhat retired from public life. For years, the only person attached to the project was Fisher himself. Then, last summer, the actor began a campaign to reveal abuses allegedly perpetrated by Joss Whedon, who directed the Justice League reshoots in the summer of 2017. Although it is clear something occurred during that photography, stepping forward ultimately cost Fisher a role in the upcoming feature film version of The Flash and any chance of starring in his own film. Although, considering the film was announced in 2014 and never saw much development beyond that, it is unclear how committed the studio's then management really was to making Cyborg happen. It teased an unhappy ending for Joker and Harley at one time. Suicide Squad was going to spin off Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, and the Joker, Jared Leto, into their own interconnected film series. The rough plan included a Gotham City Sirens, which would eventually become Birds of Prey, and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, as well as a solo Joker film, and a Joker and Harley project. While Leto's appearance in Zack Snyder's Justice League is newly shot material, it is unclear if Affleck's contribution to the scene was from 2016 or 2020. Sheets has also undergone a dramatic weight loss, shedding approximately 40 pounds using the Nutrisystem method. If the former, then Snyder always intended Batman's lines about Harley to be part of the second nightmare. Would it have led to her film series ending in tragedy? It would have been bold, but so little about those projects is known that it might have been a whole lot of, maybe, with Harley's death contained only within the nightmare world of Justice League. In the end, Birds of Prey emerged with Robbie returning as Harley for the Suicide Squad this August.
Sheets spoke of his weight loss journey as an extension of hope. Leto's interest in continuing on as the Joker changes with the wind. It presented a Green Lantern allied with the League. The final scene of Snyder's League features the Martian Manhunter, Henry Lennox, offering his aid to Batman's team. Hope is having $200 to buy a locker and a chance to change your life. But in a recent interview, the director revealed that scene was rebuilt from a similar one meant to introduce a different superhero. It's that same hope that motivated me to lose weight. Considering a Green Lantern Corps film was on the development board at the time Justice League was shot, and Snyder's plan to include members of the Corps in Justice League 2, it's a safe bet a Green Lantern was originally in Jean Jacques' place. Adding to that notion, Snyder also said Ryan Reynolds was game to reprise his Hal Jordan role from the much-maligned Green Lantern. Details about the Green Lantern Corps film are vague. I knew life would be much sweeter when I achieved my goal. No one knows if it would have incorporated ideas from Green Lantern or started over with one of the other many members of that group in the lead position. Now, I want to spread that message of hope to others. It is still apparently in development, but with HBO Max working on a Green Lantern series with some of the same people involved in both Lantern film projects, it seems unlikely we'll see a big screen return anytime soon. Perhaps this motivated Snyder to change the scene to the Martian Manhunter, whose absence from the project up until now was always strange. If I can change one life at a time by helping someone get off the couch, I will be happy. The joys of #average middle class. Daryl has another child beyond Zoe, but if you're a fan of the show, you already knew that. Brandon Sheets was a regular cast member for the first 8 seasons of Storage Wars, earning the nickname, the Sidebet. He grew up learning the trade from his father, and he made his business decisions armed only with a GED and a storage locker's worth of street smarts. Jean has been a part of nearly every iteration of the League since its debuted in 1959. Also, since it is a new element, it is always possible we will see Lennox as the character again someday. It laid the ground for a modern-day Wonder Woman 2. Maybe, photo by HBO Max. This one might be more speculation than anything else, but with all of Diana's, Gal Gadot, references to shutting herself off from everyone for 100 years, we think it's safe to assume Wonder Woman 2 was originally envisioned as a post-Justice League movie. But in 2016, his newfound TV career came to an abrupt stop. On December 16 of that year, he tweeted that he was no longer affiliated with the show, having been let go for budget reasons. How this fit into Snyder's grand vision of the Great Darkness is harder to determine, but as both he and producing partner Deborah Snyder are executive producers on the Wonder Woman films, we imagine they would have made it work somehow. One guess. The Amazons would have left their island to confront Darkseid in Justice League 3, so maybe Hippolyta's, Connie Nielsen, command for Diana to return to her would have been an element of that film. It pointed to decidedly different versions of Aquaman and the Flash. Photo by HBO Max. Perhaps the most intriguing element of Zack Snyder's Justice League, at least from the standpoint of the projects it teases, is the way it establishes different version of the Aquaman film we eventually received and the Flash film we'll ultimately get. The key difference in visions for Aquaman stems from Arthur's, Jason Momoa, scene with Vulko, Willem Dafoe. As the series went on without him, Sheets relocated to Arizona and became a licensed real estate agent. On his social media accounts, Sheets still seems to express interest in on-camera entertainment, as he creates small episodes that are a hybrid of vlog and web series. Besides the obvious design differences in Dafoe's character, his attempt to coax Arthur into taking up his mother's trident suggests a different tone and objective for that eventual film. His most prolific series is something he calls #average middle class, a tongue-in-cheek spoof of MTV's Cribs in which Sheets brags about normal, average, middle-class things. A professional slacker is born Barry Weiss as a collector. This Vulko seems more committed to getting Arthur on the throne of Atlantis than his short-haired counterpart in James Wan's picture. Of antiques, by trade, but also of his audience's enjoyment. On Storage Wars, Weiss disarmed everyone with his unorthodox bidding style and rat-a-tat roasts against his fellow storage warriors. He impressed A&E so much that in 2014, he left the original show and was given his own spin-off, Buried Treasure.
On the show, which lasted for 8 episodes, he traveled across the country in search of hidden goodies and knick-knacks, showing off his knowledge of classic cars in the process. The following year, he was given yet another A&E spin-off, called Storage Wars, Barry Strikes Back. Additionally, Arthur's problem with his mother is a different type of abandonment issue, indicating their reunion was meant to be more of a confrontation than it ultimately turned out to be. Add to that Mara's, Amber Heard, British accent and her statement that both her parents are dead, and you get hints at a film more in line with the darker parts of The Lord of the Rings than the high-adventure tale Wan ultimately delivered. Photo by HBO Max. Also, we fully believe Lex was meant to sail up in his yacht and rescue Black Manta, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, during Aquaman's stinger scene. Co-hosted with fellow cast member Kenny Crossley, Weiss guided viewers through his favorite Storage Wars episodes and moments, offering behind-the-scenes tidbits along the way. No matter what Aquaman was supposed to be from the standpoint of Zack Snyder's Justice League, the eventual film was a success with a sequel due on December 16, 2022. The Flash, meanwhile, is the most mysterious. Currently, Weiss has stepped away somewhat from public life. He hasn't tweeted since 2014. In a couple of rare recent interviews, which were, to be fair, foisted on him without prior knowledge, Weiss said he won't be appearing on TV anytime soon, content with living life as a professional slacker. When pressed, though, he admitted that he'd potentially be interested in hosting a show about cars and motorcycles. A light in the attic before he built up his auctioning grid on Storage Wars, Ivy Calvin had a history of professional conflict. From the added scenes, we get that Barry's, Ezra Miller, involvement with Iris, Kiersey Clemens, would be a key plot point, as would his continuing efforts to be less of a shut-in and get his dad out of prison. In the 1990s, Calvin played for the San Jose SaberCats in the Arena Football League, although he was cut abruptly after only 7 games. In a Los Angeles Times interview, he stated that despite being cut, his dream was still to play NFL ball. But those hints speak to a film director Rick Famuyiwa left in late 2016 over the same sort of creative differences which led Seth Grahame-Smith and Game Night directors John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein to depart as well. Then, Calvin pivoted to MMA fighting. Only one match is listed in his official record, a 2002 cage fight against Samu Samu, but he won by submission. Currently, IT director Andy Muschietti is scheduled to helm the film for a November 4, 2022 release. Curiously, the film will see Barry using his speed abilities to visit other realities in the DC multiverse and will seemingly establish the many worlds to explain away films like Joker, The Batman, and even Zack Snyder's Justice League itself. Zack Snyder's Justice League is now available on HBO Max. On an Apple device? Follow Rotten Tomatoes on Apple News. Finally, Calvin was scooped up by A&E as a new Storage Wars cast member, cutting a no-nonsense figure on the program. Nowadays, Calvin stays out of the limelight. He runs a thrift store in Palmdale, CA called Grandma's Attic, and his social media accounts are primarily devoted to detailing the inventory at his store. A tweet written on February 10, 2019 sums up Calvin's current interests. Grandma's Attic is open. Bargain season ready for another Storage Wars power couple? Husband and wife team Renee and Casey Nizota joined the show in Season 4. They turned heads with, as their A&E bio puts it, their big bankroll and an extensive knowledge of secondhand sales, not to mention Renee's thick German accent. Their expertise in secondhand purchases comes from their experience owning their own business, Bargain Hunters Thrift Store, located in Poway, CA. One sample review on their Yelp page. Why is everyone here so damn nice? Beyond their store responsibilities, the Nizotas maintain an on-camera presence, posting a series of YouTube videos that run the gamut from unboxings, live auctions, overviews of collections, interactions with fans, and even classic vlogging. In November 2018, the Nizotas revealed that they purchased Farrah Fawcett's storage lockers for $3,500. However, Renee viewed the experience as a bit of a bust. It wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't this mega explosion unit. But we still found some stuff. This auction also spurred a series of legal actions, as Fawcett's nephew didn't believe a representative of Fawcett's estate had the right to sell her items like this. When they're not accidentally ruffling feathers, the Nizotas also enjoy spending family time with their daughter, Tatiana. What hath Mary found? Mary Padian's Storage Wars journey began on a spin-off. After her stint on Storage Wars, Texas, Padian was brought on board the main ship in Season 5. She earned her nickname, the Junkster, based on her devil-may-care attitude toward finding treasures. She was just as comfortable, diving in dumpsters, as she was bidding on traditional auctions. Currently, Padian maintains a vintage store called Mary's Finds, which sells, as Padian describes it, an eclectic mix of found treasures refurbished or untouched, many of which were featured in Padian's personal Storage Wars journeys. Padian has also worked extensively with Ubuntu Life, an organization dedicated to helping children with special needs in Kenya by selling products that connect our customers to the lives being changed. Padian personally visited Kenya, met with many of the locals, and collected treasures along the way. She originally sold some of her finds on her website, with 20% of the proceeds going directly to Ubuntu Life. Kenny continues to do it. It's a bit surprising that Kenny Crossley presented such a bombastic, gregarious personality during his time on Storage Wars. Before becoming an unscripted TV celeb, Crossley worked for the New Orleans Sheriff's Department. After that, he managed storage facilities in Los Angeles. Both of these jobs, we'd imagine, would require a certain level of inscrutable authority. Yet, from his first episode onward, Crossley was nothing but unorthodox, bouncy joy, delighting viewers with catchphrases, "Kenny do it," and malapropisms, "Watch your profanity." Since the show, Crossley has maintained his own clothing line, imbued with his can-do catchphrase. He was also the owner of Jackie's Famous Pralines, a New Orleans-based candy vendor. Crossley is also doing his best to create his own opportunities. On his social media accounts, he runs a series called, Kenny's Uber Adventures, in which he drives for the popular ride-sharing service and shows us what shenanigans he gets into. Many of them involve delicious-looking food. Crossley also raps, under monikers like Lil Daddy Da Don and DJ Kenny Do It. Thrifters, not so, anonymous, injecting a necessary jolt of youth into the Storage Wars pantheon. Edwina Register and Shayna Dayan met each other on a fateful high school orchestra bus trip. Register played viola. So did Dayan. And the rest was bargain-finding history. On the show, Register and Dayan searched for what they called new vintage pieces, in a welcome respite from many of the storage locker's older items. Thus, they were able to provide a sense of chaotic energy amidst the old-timers of the show, while simultaneously learning from them. The two currently maintain a popular YouTube channel called Thrifters Anonymous, in which they explore thrift stores across the country, show off their impressive hauls, and interact with their fans and fellow thrift enthusiasts. Dayan told Lore that their passion for shopping for fashion on a budget, self-expression, and always having fun each and every time without failure makes it our dream job. Beyond her ongoing work in front of the camera, Register maintains an impressive day job as a sales and retention executive at Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield in Las Vegas. Thrifting as colorblind Dayan also maintains an impressive series of side hustles, including motherhood. She has worked as a model, often in a retro glam pinup space. Register herself has taken some of these photos, according to Dayan's Lore interview. She also works as a fitness model and runs a YouTube channel called Colorblind Fitness. On this channel, Dayan shows off her workout routines, her meal prep plans, her secrets to maintaining healthy weight loss, and some personal vlogging without Register. She supplements this channel with her blog, called Colorblind Blog. Here, Dayan models her thrifty looks, writes inspiring messages to her fans, and gets into all kinds of shenanigans with Register. Dayan attributes her weight loss success in part to First Form, a company dedicated to selling nutritional supplements for folks of all needs. Dayan sums up her and Register's career path nicely in her Lore interview, saying, "What is funny about thrifting is brands, sizes, all the stigmas and stereotypes get thrown out the window. Wear what you love, what fits you how you want it to fit, and let everyone have it." Married. With a job, husband and wife team Brandy Passante and Jared Schultz were absolute dynamite to watch on Storage Wars. They bickered and bantered fiercely, but you just knew underneath the televised fireworks, they truly loved each other. Oh, and they were pretty good at bidding on lockers, too. Schultz instinctually shot from the hip while Passante analyzed every move before making it. A&E loved their dynamic so much they gave them their own spin-off show. Brandy and Jared. Married to the Job aired for 8 episodes in 2014, highlighting the couple's struggles juggling their family life with the travails of owning their own business. After both of their TV stints, Schultz and Passante continued to maintain their clothing line Outlaw Apparel, which specializes in iconography dripping in Southern biker punk culture. The two also ran Now and Then Second Hand Store, a thrift shop in Orange, CA. They still maintain an online presence, but folks who've tried to visit the store seem to think it's no longer in business. And one person who was able to visit complained of a gross odor.